So when I was 18 years old, my dance teacher, who was also the owner of the studio, she sat me down and she had torn her ACL and both of her meniscus, and she was at the doctor's, and her doctor basically told her that this career was not a viable option anymore. So she just sat me down, and I was a senior in high school and I was 18 years old, and she basically told me that I could either buy the studio now and just pursue my dream of owning a dance studio so young, or she was going to have to sell it to somebody else. So I just decided to buy it. Main questions I get asked a lot is like, how did you even come up with the money to buy this studio like at such a young age? And trust me, when I first found out about wanting to even buy the studio, I was like, I don't even know how I could do that without the money and blah blah blah. But what I did was I owner financed it, and like the lady who sold it to me, the previous owner, she was so super sweet, and she sold it to me for quite a large amount of money, I would say. But since we owner financed it, she only did for 2% interest, so payments really aren't that bad, and I'll have it paid off in 4 years. And so I just make payments to her instead of a bank, basically, and it just works out really nicely for me.
So I started dancing when I was about 3 years old, and the reason why I started dancing was because my mom put me in there just to get me off their hands. And then I danced there until I was about 6. So I've been dancing pretty professionally for 5 years, 4 years with Miss Kelly and 1 year with Mikayla.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
When I came back to that studio and when I was 12 years old, I saw Mikayla, and she was in the highest level, and I was pretty young, and I always looked up to that level, and I thought they were so cool. And then when I finally got into about level 4, I think, she started teaching our levels, and then I got to know her a little bit better, but I was still intimidated. And then when she started teaching this year, I got really close to her.
One of the things that I definitely had to get used to the most was the business side of things, and all the money and dealing with parents and, you know, all of the adult things, I guess you could say. So like having to pay my bills every month, and dealing with getting tuition at the beginning of every month, and then at the end of the year having to book a venue for our end of the year performance and having to pay for that, and, you know, buying costumes for all of that. It's definitely been a big life adjustment, but you gotta do what you gotta do to make business work. So being a young business owner has definitely had its ups and downs, but it's honestly been so rewarding, and there are days that I hate it and there are days that I love it, but ultimately I'm so glad that I made the decision that I made, even though I am so young.